So when we look at this miracle, we look at why is the Quran a miracle. Yeah? Basically, when this Quran was revealed to Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, do you know the basic history?
Yeah, over a period of time.
23 years. Okay. But what did the people of the time say? What did the Quraysh say? The people who was leaders of Mecca at that time say? Remember, this is a place of idol worship.
Well, I assume some believed and some didn't.
Right. So imagine the scenario now. You're in this town, which makes its living of idol worship. People would bring their gods, their idols, from all the tribes around to worship them at the Kaaba. Okay, and then the merchants of Makkah would trade, and this is how they made their dough. All right. Now you're being told now to go down there and go, stop what you're doing. It's all a mistake. Worship the one God. All right. And this, when the Quran was being revealed, he was coming out with this Arabic of the Quran. So when Moses came with his staff and all this and the 7 plagues, you know, the magicians were the first people to follow Moses, to recognize him, because he's doing things that go beyond the realms of illusion. All right. In the time of Jesus, it was the medics and the healers who recognized what he was doing was beyond the realms of healing. Okay. In the time of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Arabic and poetry was the thing. So he was coming out with this eloquent poetry.
And 5 of the greatest known Arab poets were alive at the time.
Because the Quran was, you know, five exceeded, you know, the poetry.
Were alive at the time. So he was known to be illiterate. He'd been raised amongst so they knew that he was illiterate, they knew he couldn't read and write, and he wasn't known for his poetry. And then he brings these...
Now he comes blazing with this poetry. So the Quraysh send their poets, go listen to these words. Where's he getting them from? So they went there, and the first charge they put against him is that he's crazy. Yeah? He's gone dulali. He's having delusions. He's seeing things, he's hearing things. But wait, the words he's coming out with are not the words of a madman. They're so coherent, they're so beautiful, they make sense, they imply order. They're not gibberish. Yeah? So we can rule that out. And then they say he's lying then. He's pretending an angel's speaking to him, but really he's coming up with the words and he's relaying them as if an angel's talking to him. But they go, but wait a minute, what was his nickname? Al-Amin, the truthful one. Now this man Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was known as Al-Amin. The reason being why? If in that time you had possessions, treasure, and you needed to travel to another land, you couldn't take that treasure with you. But he was known as the one you could leave your treasure with, because he wouldn't sell it or he wouldn't steal from it. You could return and he would return it to you. So this was one of his known traits. So if you believe me in that, why won't you believe me now? So this rules out him being a liar. So what was the third thing they came with? It's sorcery. What? You're Arab poets! You're some of the greatest Arab poets in the land! We send you to a man who's coming out with Arab poetry and you're telling us it's magic! Which means there's something profound in those words. So now we know that this Quran is what? Supernatural. When we look at the Quran and we look at its teachings and we look at its guidance, if everyone would adhere to its teachings, we would have peace on earth.
I'd agree with that.
I'm not saying everyone became a Muslim, and
I agree with what you're saying.
The teachings, alhamdulillah. So this, following the guidance of this Quran, will protect yourself and your family and society from all of these ills. Now we've got a question, could a man in the desert 1400 years ago come with this supernatural poetry that seemed to apply order in the 21st century, the madness of the 21st century? It could apply law and order? It's madness, you understand? So this is where we come to today. Now we believe when the Quran says Muhammad is the messenger, he's the one who shows us how to use this Quran. So now what do we have now? We don't just have this abstract Christian idea of this immaculate Jesus who was pure and never married and never did anything, and yet you're supposed to relate to him, you're supposed to be like him. What do you mean? How can we be like Jesus? This is why, have you heard of a book called The World's 100? It's a beautiful book. It's by a Christian guy called Michael H. Hart. All right, and it's the world's 100 most influential people in history. Now he's a Christian. Who did he put number one?
Muhammad.
Allahu Akbar. Put Muhammad Sallallahu number one. He put Jesus number 3, and he put Paul number 5.
Paul.
Number 5. Yeah.
Who's 2?
2 was Isaac Newton.
Okay,
all right. Now why did he put Muhammad Sallallahu number 1? Because he said he was the only man in history who was supremely successful on a secular and religious level, on every aspect of it. Whether it was as a king, whether it was as a leader, as a neighbor, as a friend, as a father, as a husband, as a businessman, as a diplomat. He was profoundly successful in all of these attributes. So I, as a man today, Allahu Akbar, want to be successful in my life also. I want to avoid the dangers of this world in my life also. Now, if I wanted to get into, I don't know, computer software, computers and all that business, yeah, I'd probably watch a video of Bill Gates. I'd probably read his autobiography, and I'd see what he did and try to emulate what he did, isn't it? That's just business, right? We're talking about a man that I can look to and follow his example, and he was the most successful man in history that's ever existed, and influential, yeah, that I, alhamdulillah, have a role model now. Now for me this is just by God, because he's not just made it abstract, yeah, he's not just sent himself. Look, again, Christians talk about Jesus, oh, he never sinned. You believe Jesus was God?
No.
How can Jesus sin if he's God? Because why? Because God is the criteria for sin. It's God who decides what is sinful and what isn't sinful.
La ilaha illallah Muhammadun Rasul